Chiari malformation means the lower part of the brain sits too low and presses into the spinal canal. Because the skull doesn't leave enough room, it creates pressure on the brainstem and spinal cord, which can affect how the body functions in many different ways. And the symptoms can look different for every patient. That's why I decided to create this video, to share my experience, help spread awareness, and reach anyone who feels misunderstood, unheard, or alone. And this is how mine began. 2010, I was sitting in our office cafeteria during lunch, eating, laughing, completely normal. And then, without warning, everything went dark. When I opened my eyes, I wasn't in my chair anymore. I was on the floor. Voices echoed around me, blurred and distant. I tried moving my arms. Nothing. My legs. Nothing. No strength to even lift a finger. What if my strength never comes back? Something was deeply, deeply wrong. EMS rushed in. Can you hear me? Can you move your fingers? I tried, but I couldn't. My body felt like jelly. Every bit of muscle strength gone, as if someone had drained me from the inside. They lifted me onto the stretcher because I had no strength at all. As they moved quickly around me, all I knew was that I had no control over my body and no idea why. The ER burst into motion the second I arrived, monitors beeping, nurses shining lights into my eyes, doctors calling for more tests. Everyone moved fast, but their eyes showed uncertainty. I stayed for days, surrounded by machines and questions, because no one could explain why my body had suddenly collapsed. And nothing prepares you for the moment a doctor looks at you and says, "We don't know what's happening." After hours of tests that led nowhere, they finally sent me for an MRI. A doctor walked in with my MRI results, holding the images carefully as he prepared to explain what they showed. "You have Chiari malformation," he said. Then he pointed to the measurement on the scan, a number clearly outside the normal range. "It's definitely abnormal," he said, "but we still can't say how this ties into everything you're experiencing." Back in 2010, Chiari wasn't well understood. Very few people had even heard of it. Then the headaches began, a deep, pressure-like pain at the back of my skull that slowly grew harder to ignore. It wasn't just a headache, it felt heavy, starting in my shoulder, crawling up my neck, and pushing its way into my head and behind my eyes. Sometimes it throbbed, sometimes it was sharp, and other times the pressure was so intense it stopped me completely. It always worsened with straining coughing, sneezing, bending forward, even standing up too quickly. Small movements triggered waves of pain I couldn't predict or control. All I knew was that something inside my head didn't feel normal anymore. I saw doctor after doctor, specialist after specialist, each one trying to make sense of symptoms that didn't follow any clear pattern. After so many years of searching, it felt endless. Many of them told me the same thing. "You're my first Chiari patient." There's a certain isolation that comes with having a condition most people have never seen or even heard of. And with every new opinion, the confusion grew. Some doctors believed Chiari was the answer. Others insisted it wasn't. One mentioned surgery. Another warned surgery wouldn't help. Every appointment felt like pressing reset, a new doctor, a new theory, a new direction that led nowhere. Every answer only opened another question. And through it all, the pain kept coming back, again and again, as if my body was trying to remind me that something inside was struggling long before anyone could see it. I learned how to function with pain, quietly sitting in the background of everything I did. I worked through it, walked through it, pretended through it. I looked normal from the outside, but people didn't see how easily I got tired, how my energy drained so quickly that even a normal day felt like I'd climbed a mountain. They didn't see the moments when I broke down alone, wondering how much longer I could pretend everything was normal. Invisible pain steals pieces of you long before anyone notices. Months turned into years, and over a decade went by. Test after test, referral after referral, and still no real answers, no treatment plan, no consistent explanation, just confusion layered on top of more confusion. Chiari malformation was complicated a condition that looks different for every patient, and my symptoms didn't fit the usual patterns. And my collapse, my first drop attack, remained a mystery no one could explain. It felt like living inside a question mark, waiting for someone to finally put a period at the end of my story. After years of confusion, one doctor finally took the time to see the full picture, the MRI, the symptoms, the collapse that started everything. He didn't brush it off, he didn't guess. He simply said, "You need a Chiari specialist." This is more complex than it seems. It wasn't a solution, but it was the first real direction I had been given in years. For the first time in a long time, I wasn't dismissed. I wasn't brushed aside. I finally had a path forward. Slowly, the pieces began to fit together, not just the collapse, but every symptom that followed, the constant fatigue that drained me faster than it should, the muscle weakness that made simple things difficult, even causing me to lose my grip and drop things I was holding, the neck and shoulder pain that never really went away, and the headaches that came in waves I couldn't predict. Not all Chiari patients experience the same symptoms, but these were mine. It wasn't stress, it wasn't overthinking, it wasn't just in my head, it was Chiari, and finally, I had a partial understanding of my condition. That day marked the beginning of my true medical journey. Chiari gave me answers, but not all of them. The pain, the fatigue, the muscle weakness, those finally made sense. But the collapse, the sudden drop with no warning, still had no clear explanation. And to this day, those drop attacks still happen. And the rest of my Chiari story, everything that came after this moment, unfolds in the episodes that follow. If you'd like to stay with me through it, don't forget to subscribe.